Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot and a PMDG 777 beta tester. Welcome to our latest flight featuring the 777-200ER with Pratt & Whitney engines in the United Airlines Starlines livery from Build's lovely Brisbane airport over to my all-time favorite in flight simulation, Flightbeam's mighty San Francisco Captain's Edition. So join me inside and we'll start to set our 777-200ER up for today's 13-hour service. Now, 13 might be a little bit exaggerated here. We aren't going to need just that long. Much rather, we are looking at around about 12 hours and 48 minutes. But why don't we just go ahead and have a look at the flight plan directly in order to decide what we are about to do today. So this is our route of flight. Departing Brisbane down here, then we are entering the ETOPS area right over here, flying all the way ETOPS until we end up in San Francisco, with a slight exception of this little flight hour or so over here close to Hawaii. In terms of our significant weather chart, you can see that we have pretty good weather for the first few hours. Then we should hopefully make it in between all those gaps in the intertropical convergence zone over here. But nonetheless, we have to consider the impact this part might have here. Then going on, we have a couple of CBs, and over here this area number 3, which is marked as moderate turbulence between 360 and level 400. And thereafter, the final part of the flight is going to be smooth on the way over to San Francisco. So basically, we are only expecting some weather throughout the intertropical convergence zone, and once we have passed that, we do expect a smooth ride. In terms of our weather, let's go ahead and have a look. So we're departing Brisbane in clear skies with southerly to southwesterly winds, arriving in San Francisco, probably runway 28 active over there. However, there are some chances that we might find some tailwind on that arrival. Scattered clouds, and then into the alternates. We are looking into Oakland as our primary alternate, which of course is right on the other side of San Francisco Bay. So we probably don't expect any different weather there than we do in San Francisco itself. Now, we do have Honolulu as our fuel en route alternate, and Honolulu has very good weather. And now for our alternate airports, we have that Faleolo International, which, well, is okay for the time being, but later throughout the day they are going to get thunderstorms, but by that part we'll hopefully already be in bed over in San Francisco. Hilo is very good throughout the entire day, and so is San Francisco itself. So with that in mind, going into the top of the plan, if we depart on time, then we are going to arrive, well, a couple minutes late, so we may take some extra fuel here to make up for some of that time. We do have plenty of margin to both the maximum takeoff and the maximum landing weight, and then going down to the fuel section in our plan, we can see that if we weighed 1,000 more, we need some 239 pounds more. And last but not least, the thing that's really going to be important today, that's a higher cost index, so we can shove off some 21 minutes of flight time at the cost of 7,200 pounds of fuel. Probably not worth it, to be honest. So we'll just take 2,000 pounds more so that we can make up a little bit of that time. But always remember, we do have that ETOPS fuel. So technically speaking, we don't even need to consider taking any extra. As soon as we're off block, this is a pure legal thing down here. So, well, we can just use that. Alright, so what does that mean in terms of the total fuel quantity that we want to take? So we have 216.7 thousand pounds of fuel on board, and then we have 1,050 pounds of taxi fuel. So adding that up, 218,000 pounds should work just about fine, and that's our final fuel decision for today. So let's take a seat on the captain's seat over here, and we can start straight away down here in our universal flight tablet. So first things first, let's import the flight plan into the UFT, then let's go into the weight and balance, import from SimBrief, precise loading, and we do want that in pounds, and we said we wanted 218,000 pounds of fuel. Gives me 217,995, close enough, I'm happy with that. Alright, and of course you should all be in pounds down here. Very good. So that's that part. Then going into the ground connections, we are running on the APU already, no external power connected here, but the temperature is 24 degrees, so I would keep that APU on anyway. Apart from that, let's see if we are able to connect that jetway, and indeed we are. So the jetway should connect to the aft, but let's just open this one, so it should connect to 2 left, but we'll see about it. In the meantime, let's ensure our aircraft is safe for service by checking all those messages down here, and that's looking good for the time being. On the status page we only have the TCAS, which is okay, and then on the engine page oil quantities aren't completely full, but they are still okay for today's flight, so I'm happy with this. Alright, cool. So then let's do the oxygen check, which is okay. And then let's head right to the top. ADRU is coming on, and then we can go into the FMS. 777-200ER, Pratt & Whitney engine, and the nav database is up to date. Might take a small moment for the inertial position prompt to arrive over here. We can already use that to bring up our flight plan. See, that is why you normally press that ADRS button before you do anything else. Which, of course, I did not do. But okay, doesn't matter, it is here now. So, route, request from SimBrief, and select the SimBrief route. And here we go, that's Brisbane to San Francisco, United 97. So, we depart via the Gunki 2 departure, and down here, if we have a look into the airports, then we can see the airport shot up here. Then we need the international apron, that's probably this one. Indeed it is. Alright, load the route please. So sit, we're looking for a Gunki 2, and here it is. Well, and that's probably exactly what we need. So let's go ahead and have a look at the route, which has loaded now. So departing 19 left, Gunki 2, and arriving in 28 right. Let's see what we've got. It's the Pirate 3 arrival from Cine. So Private 3, they say private? Yeah, thinking in US terms already. Okay, so that one ends on radar vector, so we don't need any transition. So route, activate, and execute. Now let's go ahead and cross-check the route itself. We proceed via Gunki, Bravo 578 towards Mepham, then 25 south, 160 east, 24 south, 163 east, 20 south, 170 east, 11 south, 180 east, 5 south, 175 west, 1 north, 170 west, 8 north, 160 west, 15 north, 150 west, 23 north, 140 west, 28 north, 135 west, 33 north, 130 west, direct Cine for the Pirate 3 arrival. Now let's go ahead and cross-check all those waypoints. There will without a doubt be many to cross-check. So starting right up here. So that is 20 degrees south, 160 degrees east. So that's the pain point flying oceanic. You just have to cross-check all those lovely waypoints for their coordinates. That's because you are completely reliant on those for any separation that ATC may provide for you. So yeah, that's just what we gotta do. So this one's probably not going to be accepted here. If so, yep, that is the known bug, so let's just disregard that. So we continue 1 north, 170 west. And that's correct. Then we have 8 north, 160 west. And that's correct as well. For the Europeans here watching, you might be familiar with a couple of waypoints from the North Atlantic that are named in a rather similar way, such as, for example, 5440 North. And basically, exactly this very same 5-digit shortcut for waypoints can be found in any other part of the world as well. And this is what we're checking over here. Those waypoints named in a very similar convention, and if you fly across the North or South Pacific often, then you will most definitely get comfortable with them pretty soon. But in any case, we need to cross-check all those waypoints, because as always, there may be trouble with the way those points have been programmed. Then of course we gotta cross-check our SID, and it wouldn't be a 777 if it would be able to take all those constraints correctly here. Remember, the 777 is not going to give you any speed constraints if you have no altitude constraints associated with them. For this reason, gotta cross-check those things carefully here to ensure that we actually have all the constraints included in our flight plan. Alright, cool. So 6,271 nautical miles and 6,280 is the plan, so that's more than close enough. Then we can take Brisbane into here and draw a 25-mile ring for the MSA. We don't need anything in the nav aids. Transition altitude 10,000, and that is verified. Now let's go on to the init reference page and accept that uplink. So what do we have here? Let's start with our final reserves. So that's 5.9 plus 2.8. So that's 8.7. We have 8.6 in here. Probably due to the rounding, you can see this is less than 100, the last digits there. So 8.6 is actually correct. However, they do want us in flight level 330, so let's go ahead and enter that. Costinix 59 is correct, minimum fuel temperature minus 44, and the CG is 30. Then on to the takeoff data, and we have noise abatement procedure number 2 today, so that's going to be reduction in acceleration at 1,000 feet each. Alright, and then we can enter the descent uplink forecast, and that's basically it already. So that's where we can leave our FMS. Now let's do a quick thing here. That is, I want to request that weather a tiny bit earlier than usual. Okay. Beautiful. Then we check the overhead panel. Up here there is not all that much for us to do, since Boeing doesn't want us to do all those fire checks and stuff like that. I do know flight simmers do like to make them, but nope, that's maintenance procedures. We've got nothing to do with them in here. Just waiting for the ADAS to arrive now so that we can set the QNH. And in the meantime, we are pretty much done setting up anything else. Okay, beautiful. And the ADAS has arrived. Information Alpha. Wind 2108, visibility 10, temperature 16, QNH 1019. And that's now set. Very good. So that's pretty much everything we had to do down here. Then I suppose we can go right into the departure briefing. So let's go. This is going to be right left seat takeoff, and we have the Gamki 2 departure of 19 left. Initial climb is going to be, I believe, 5,000, and the MSA, well, 3,000 keeps us safe in the vicinity. Extra fuel, we didn't load anything extra, however we do have almost an hour of ETOPS fuel, so that's really easy going. No hotspots for our taxi routing, and the engine out sits straight at 25 miles. In case of rejected takeoff, we have a couple hundred meters of stop margin on this runway. If we need to make an immediate return, we're above the maximum landing weight, so we are going to read and do the overweight landing checklist, and that's it. Both 19 left as well as 19 right are available for us today, and I see no reason not to come back for an overweight landing. However, we are going to take all the time we need in order to set everything up, and well, that's mostly it. Do you have any questions or suggestions? Okay, thought so. So let's do the pre-flight checklist, please. Oxygen, tested 100%. Flight instruments, heading 297, altimeter 109, reading 20 set left, set right. Pre-flight checklist complete. So by now we should have gotten our load sheets. Let's go ahead and have a look at that. So the zero fuel weight is 392.8. Alright, cruise CG probably going to be 28. Then let's head into the performance tool. 19 left, 3.5 kilometers seems about correct. Calculate, and we end up with flex temperature of 38 degrees. That's an EPR of 1.437, which seems correct. So, flaps 5 takeoff and 28% CG. 5.75 units trim, which matches the EFB, and then we have 157, 163, 168. All within 1 knot, well, all pretty much perfectly on the spot. So here we go. Then the APU is running, so all the ground equipment can be disconnected, and then we can close up. So release all vehicles, close all doors, and then let's say good afternoon to our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from the flight. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of United, welcome aboard flight 97 to San Francisco. Today's flight time will be close to 13 hours. We expect a smooth flight for the most part, and for the time being, just sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us. If there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. Thank you very much for your attention, and again, welcome aboard. So, ground flight, go. You may remove all the ground equipment, you can disconnect the jetway indeed, and then we'll be ready to go in a few moments. So, they're removing the jetway, that is wonderful. Beautiful looking aircraft, isn't it? Okay, cool. So, please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. All confirmed. Alright, thanks. Then we'll prepare the aircraft for pushback. Cabin crew, all doors in flight. So, here we go, our taxi chart is live. Then, let's go. So, heading 195, quick check of the departure chart again. And, well, I think the first restriction I can find is actually the dual restriction at below 8,000. So let's go with that. Pressurizing hydraulics. Let me guess. Fuel in center. So we turn those pumps on as well. So 5.75 units of trim, transponder on. And then let's give this one a go, shall we? So before start, checklist please. Flight deck door. It's closed and locked. MCP V2-168, heading 195, altitude 8000, takeoff speeds V1 157, BR 163, V2 168, CDU pre-flight completed, trim 5.75 units, 0 and 0, taxi and takeoff briefing completed, holding a beacon. So let's give this a go. Plan the pushback. And we are just gonna go onto that main taxiway over here. Okay, so pushback and startup approved. Beacon on, before start checklist complete. So, ground flight deck, push and start is approved, and the parking brake is now released. Thank you, starting the pushback and stand by for engines. So, here we go. Let's see where they're pushing us, if we're going onto here or onto here. I do hope I selected here. That is certainly what I would expect. But before we do that, let's do the snake. This looks so incredibly wrong. It's incredible, isn't it? Look at that. All the rubber is left right on the apron here from my nose wheel. This hurts to see. Such a pity that there is no other pushback program left, and that PMDG removed theirs from the aircraft. This is just so bad. This is so incredibly bad. I tell you what, we'll stop it right here. Cancel. Stop. Man, this hurts to see. Okay, starting both engines. So, you can hear fuel has been added. We have ignition. That engine exhaust looks seriously good, doesn't it? Well, and I think we have 2 good engine starts. Indeed we do. So ground, you clearly disconnect, show me the pin on the left, please have a wonderful day. Bye now. Flight controls. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral rudder. Full left. Full right, neutral. So, this time we even have 2 demand pumps. Huh. Interesting. And none of the 2 actually illuminates. Let's have a quick look here. Hydraulic. I don't see anything abnormal. Before we go to the checklist, let me try something. Turn them both off. Turn them on one at a time. But they don't trigger. Okay, in that case, let's do the checklists. So, hydraulic pressure demand C1 non-normal checklist. Condition, the demand pump output pressure is low when commanded on. C1 air demand pump selector on, and that's the C1. On. So, Hydraulic pressure demand message stays shown. That's only the case for the other one, so no. That's the checklist complete. Then let's do the hydraulic pressure demand C2 checklist, which is basically the same thing. C2 air demand pump selector on. And here we... Come on. Interesting, so that one isn't going at all. Okay, so hydraulic pressure demand message stays shown. Yes. C2 air demand pump selector off. Off, and that's the hydraulic pressure demand C2 checklist completed. So technically speaking, we are still allowed to fly with this. However, we should take a moment to consider if we actually want to, because we are going ETOPS up to 3 hours from the next airport. So what could happen? We would have the C1 electric pumps fail and the C1 air drone demand pump fail, and then we still have 2 hydraulic systems left. To be completely honest, I'm happy to go ETOPS with this. It happened after we went off block, so we are no longer MEL constrained. I'm happy with this. Recall shows nothing else. Fine, before taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Auto, recall, checked. Flight controls, checked. Ground equipment clear. Before taxi checklist complete. So we're clear on the right side. We are clear on the left side. Then our taxi routing is pretty easy. It's right hand turn onto Bravo, Alpha, and then all the way to the full length. So, brake is released. Cabin is ready already. That's good. I'm not sure yet whether the cabin has been quick or whether we've simply been slow. But in either case, the same result is achieved. Weather is going to be the topic of the day, so let's both go on the weather radar. It just looks gorgeous, doesn't it? 777. Beautiful plane. I know, I'm saying that a lot, but it is. And it's nice to be back in a Boeing after such a long time flying Airbus. And then even in a good Boeing and not one of those plastic things flying apart. Alright, so we have a little bit of distance to cover. Let's go all the way up to 30 knots. So 31 is a bit quick. This is better. 30 knots. Alright, so I have no changes to the takeoff briefing. Left seat takeoff, 19 left, flaps 5, noise abatement 2, speeds 57, 63, 68, and the sit is pretty much an initial left turn out at Bosvu, initial climb 8000. We're rather heavy today, though we are still quite a couple of tons from our maximum takeoff weight. Let's see, do we have any climb derate? No, we don't. We actually have full climb thrust, so things are gonna go quick today. Well, apart from that, in case of emergency, straight at 25 miles, that is going to put us over some noise-sensitive areas, but we don't care. It's just going to make for some good videos. And ultimately, that's what this flight is all about, isn't it? Apart from that, I have nothing special, nothing non-standard, and well, that's it. Any questions? No? B4 takeoff checklist. B4 takeoff checklist complete. This is actually looking pretty amazing, isn't it? The airport is looking very good from this distance, especially with the FSLTL traffic over there. The plane is going in a straight line, which I do really appreciate. The engine pod is shaking, well, maybe a bit too much for my taste, but may or may not be realistic. I don't fly 777s often. Look at that, the plane's still going straight, even though I didn't touch anything. I'm recording all of this live, nothing is cut or nothing is in some repeats or something. So pretty cool to see the airplane going straight. As mentioned, doesn't happen too often. Many flight sim airplanes have a tendency to turn to one side. Of course, today we just got wind from the back. But look at that, I have no hands on the controls, no nothing. It's literally just going straight. I like that. So, cabin crew, prepare for departure. This looks strange to see, but it is what it is. We'll try to turn them on again once we're in the air, just to see how that's gonna go. So, down at 10 knots, the TCAS is on. We're clear on the approach. By the way, the shaders are looking awesome over there. This is all default. No mods or anything. So, United 95 Heavy, runway 19 left, cleared for takeoff. Are you ready?
Approaching 19 left.
Checked. Started the timer.
On runway 19 left.
Checked. Set thrust. Takeoff thrust set.
80 knots.
Checked.
V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. So note that right now the flight director indicates quite a pitch up. I'm just maintaining 15 degrees though. You'll notice that as soon as VNAV comes on, basically then it provides us with some good guidance here to maintain that speed. So, reaching Boswell and direct to Danham. Note that 220 knot restriction there, so flaps 1, but we'll keep it at that. Autopilot. Okay, so right turn out and then passing Dedham. Our speed restriction will lift, so we can continue to accelerate. Here we go, flaps up. Speed checks, flaps up. Alright, flaps up, no lights. After takeoff checklist complete. Alright, so while we're climbing, I just want to try those hydraulic systems again. Let's open this up. And then C1 pump. Let's put that back in an auto. And then let's put the C2 pump on auto. And look at that, the problem seems to have solved itself. Recall, well, hydraulic pressure demand C2. What if I turn this one on now? That gonna fix itself? Yes. So one more try, what if I turn this back to auto? Problem solved. Well, my friends, that's the Airbus way of doing it. But as they say, the 777 is the best Airbus that Boeing has ever built. And in this slide, continue climb to flight level 150. And we'll delete that 8,000 or below restriction. So, I like it. That's problem solving a la Airbus way in a Boeing, but I tell you honestly, in the 737 turning it off and back on again worked as well, so I'm fairly sure in a 777 it would as well. That's kind of my take on this one. So let's just go ahead and grab some weather already. So twit request, and we need November Sierra Fox Alpha. Then we need PHTO. And last but not least, KSFO. So that's all 3 cent. We're going through 10,000. Let's make a left turn direct to Bamman. Lights off. I'll wait a short moment until the turn is completed before turning the signs off, but almost there anyway. So let's go one further towards Itcas and execute. That's looking better, isn't it? Perhaps to gun key. Alright, that is looking bad. So, set standard. Standard cross-check passing flight level 104. Now. So, here's all the weather we requested. So, let's start with NSFA. And that one is still good. And the present weather is still good as well. Then we've got Hilo. And Hilo still has a good tough as well. And the current conditions are good as well. And last but not least, we have San Francisco, where the tough is still unchanged, looking good. And last but not least, the current San Francisco weather is also good, even though that's not really going to interest us. So basically all of those airports are good. So what we can do is to start drawing our ETOP swings. So that's going to be 410, 410, and 410. Then let's go for the individual ones. So NSFA has 1,144 miles. And Hilo has an initial 1,121. And later on, San Francisco will need 1,015. We can draw that already as well. And here we are, looking good. So for cruise level, optimum 317, recommended 310 initial. Well, I suppose then we'll do just that. I'll leave all the step climbs on optimum since I don't expect any ATC restrictions along our climb. Estimated time of arrival 13:37 and the schedule is 13:30. Okay, so we gotta make up some 10 minutes or so. That should easily be possible. Let's try Costendix 100. And before we do that, let's remember 37 and 23.4, or 35 and 23.4. Then Costendix 100, 31, 21.3, 23.1. Yeah, that is definitely worth it. Let's try something quicker. Costendix 200, 27, 22.6, still worth it. And with that, we'll more or less be on time. So you continue to climb, please, up to flight level 200. Okay, so I think Costendix 200 is going to be good. That's going to result in Mach 0.83 in the cruise. Okay. So that's it. That's pretty much everything we could do. Then let's release our passengers. And then sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. beautiful morning and sunrise this is. So, the past 11 hours and 56 minutes have been quite a blast. We didn't do the last step climb to flight level 390, as we can see. The FMS very much preferred flight level 370 as recommended level here, so that's what we stuck with. Our arrival speeds are looking good, so now we can go ahead and do a forecast request, and at the same time we can request our destination weather. So let's do the ATIS, KSFO from VATSIM, and we can get automatic updates here for whenever there's something new. So then, San Francisco for the fix info page as well, with a 25-mile ring in here, and then we can delete all those other fixes. So the sun forecast uplink is ready and load, and while we're waiting for the weather to come in, let's go ahead and have a look at our arrival charts already. So going into San Francisco, and the star is going to be the Pirate 3 arrival. So Pirate 3 on of arrival, here it is, and then we are most likely going to approach with an ILS approach into runway 28 left or right, so I'm going to mark both of them, and then last but not least the minimums and the airport charts. So we got the parking gate and we got the airport info chart. Well, and that should be all we need, so let's go ahead and have a look. So we're coming in from Semi, that's the one down here, above level 270, on towards Hunt, 280 knots and above flight level 210, passive 260 knots and below 14,000, Pirate at 10,000, Briny and Arc, and Arc is 230 knots and 8,000 feet. Thereafter radar vectors for the arrival. There is no general speed instruction over here, so that's looking quite good. And from Arc we will eventually be vectored towards the final. So the weather is here as well, wind 060 at 5, so it is going to be pretty much a 5-knot tailwind here. Visibility over 10, clouds, well, 3 clouds here in 1200, temperature 16, altimeter 2996. We like this. Right, very good. Then let's transition on to the chart, and I do think we are going to get the ILS runway 28 right, which is the one we've also programmed already. Starting out in 7, 3000, Axial 1800, and then we have 3-degree glide slope. All of this is in here, and the go-around is a pretty easy one. Straight out to VQ, climbing altitude 3000. And that's what we've got down here. Wonderful, so let's see, 24,500 pounds of fuel on arrival versus 28.6 right now, so we're basically burning 4,000 pounds, which makes a landing weight of 417.6. Let's make it 418 to be easy. Alright, so flaps 25 I suppose, but let's go ahead and run the mathematics. So performance tool, landing en route, San Francisco, 28 right, 3,600 meters seems correct. Import, let's calculate flaps 25 and calculate. So, just shy of 1900 meters. Looks fairly good to me. That's with 417,000 pounds. Let's calculate 418, see what we're going to get. I don't expect much of a difference though. Yeah, couple meters. So, very easy going. Alright, and that's it. So then, let's do a recall, and let's check if there are any notes on the checklist, which there aren't. And then we can go for the briefing, please. Alright, so, arriving in the San Francisco, Pirate 3 arrival, ILS 28 right, and we totally forgot to set the minimums. 213. I just love to wander around the flight deck like this. Just so cool, especially with these, with this sunrise here. Alright, so let's try that again. Pirate 3 arrival in the San Francisco, ILS 28 right, minimums 213, go around straight at 3000 XML. Actually to, what's it called again? To VQ. Sounds similar. Alright, MSA wise, 5000 keeps us safe in the area. I just totally love that three-dimensional feeling here when I'm moving around like this. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll use flat rector guidance for the ILS approach runway 28 right, flaps 25, idle reverse, auto brake 3, vacate to the left. We have one hotspot that's the crossing at runway 28 left, which we basically can't see into from the angle at which we are going to vacate the runway. Now, I have no hotspots other than that, and I have nothing special on non-standard. One possible threat for our arrival is the AI, as I could imagine the AI to use the opposite runway due to that slight tailwind, but real flight landed on 28 right, so we are probably going to do the same. Well, apart from that, I have nothing. Do you have anything? No? Wonderful, then let's say bye-bye to our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, very good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. In a few moments we're going to start our descent towards San Francisco with a remaining flight time of approximately half an hour. The weather in San Francisco is good, just a few clouds and a temperature of 16 degrees Celsius. Would like to thank you very much for choosing United for today's flight. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and we look forward to pull you out of one of our to welcome you on board on one of our aircraft in the future. Thank you very much for your attention, and we hope to see you all again soon. Well, and that's all I can do for now, so let's turn the fasten seatbelt signs on, and then I'll see you all a bit later in the arrival. San Francisco, we're almost there. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sunrise. And the shoreline is slowly coming into sight. Did I ever mention that this plane looks pretty good as well? Maybe just once or twice? Yeah, I know. But this is just marvelous, isn't it? So a sunrise like this would pretty much be the moment where I'd probably go on a screenshot, respectively on a photo rampage. But yeah, that just happens. And I think it will happen with most pilots. So, cabin ready is received. Approach checklist, altimeters, QNH 29905. Approach checklist complete. So while we were descending, a new Asus just came in. Let's go ahead and have a quick look here. So that's San Francisco Information Papa, wind 300 at 12. So that one's actually favoring runway 28 now. Visibility over 10, clouds view 1200, temperature 18, 2995. So, leveling off in 8000 here. We gotta maintain that all the way to break up there. So in the meantime, just a good time to enjoy the beautiful scenery here, which is absolutely golden. That's just one of those things where 2024 really shines at. Especially when you zoom out a little bit, look at it like this. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. kind of funny looking down here at our FMS. You still have those speed reduction points prior to brake, but obviously we are a couple thousand feet below the profile because, well, that's how the star kind of gets you in, because that profile is like the optimum profile. But we had to cross Pirate at 10,000 here, then Arc at 8,000, so yeah, so be it. So as a matter of fact, we will end up very high once we're over Arc over there. So we're in 8,000 there, then at Seapin we want to be in 3,000. That means we have those, what is it, 10 miles to lose 5,000 feet and a couple knots. So you can imagine that's probably going to be not as easy. On the other hand side, it's a 777, so nothing the speed brake couldn't handle. Look at this. It might look even better from the other side. Let's try that. Yeah, look at this. And the west coast comes in the side as well. That's the kind of view we love. That's really the kind of view we love, isn't it? Beautiful aircraft. And hey, we're almost done spending those 12 hours down here in economy class, hurting our legs. But we've been lucky. We weren't pulled off the aircraft, we weren't beaten up by any officers. So I tend to say for United Airlines standard that was quite a good flight. Let's try the other side once again. Hell yeah, there comes our coast. So we probably had quite a better experience sitting here in business class. Man, look at this. Really don't know where to start or where to stop taking screenshots here. I'm pretty sure you can think about which one of these is going to be the banner for this video. Well, by the time you're seeing this, you've hopefully seen the thumbnail, so you probably know anyway already. Then, let's go back to the flight deck, after a little view over here, which is still beautiful. Alright, so back to the flight deck now. As we approach an arc. So, continue present heading, descend 5000. So that's thrust, heading select, level change speed, and extend the center line out of Seapin. Execute. So speeds are still looking good. A little bit above the profile right now, but don't worry, that is going to change soon. So terrain is definitely more of an issue right now. Let's go over to terrain down here. And you can actually do the same thing, as weather certainly isn't an issue here anymore. It's warm enough that we don't need any anti-ice. It would be automated anyway. Now look at this. That's the way we love flying, isn't it? Alright, left heading 010, base lag. And then descend altitude 3000 feet. 2 arrivals inbound, but we are far enough away from them. Okay, so let's get the speed brake out. And then turn left heading 310, cleared ILS approach runway 28 right. Glide slope looks reasonable here, localizer capture. Glide slope capture, go around altitude 3000 set. Let's start reducing our speed. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. "13 knots of tailwind. Flaps 5. Shadows are looking really good in the new sim as well, aren't they? Ray tracing is really, really awesome. So, quick check of the approach chart. I'm fairly sure the DME is not co-located with a threshold. And I am fairly right. Reads 2 DME over the runway threshold. That means we are actually at 9.5 miles already. So let's do something against that speed.
$2,500.
Check. So, even with full speed brake, the speed is barely bleeding down. So, gear down. Flaps 20. Lights are all on already. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Flaps 25. And let's have some fun. So, autopilot off. Landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. So, looking at our TCAS, it looks like the AI is preferring the crossing runways, which is good as long as there is nobody on the roll while we are on the landing roll. We'll see about it.
Traffic. Traffic.
Oh yeah, there it comes.
Traffic.
Already. I tell you what, I'm gonna shut that AI down. It's just not smart enough. So, we're stable at the gate. Look at the beautiful reflection of the morning sun in
Approaching
the water.
28. right.
Checked. Oh, and now the wind has turned into a headwind. So
Approaching
now is our
minimums.
chance to disappoint 10 ladies at once. Checked.
Minimums.
Continue.
$100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
So, just about the end of the touchdown zone. Speed brake up, thrust reverse normal. $80 knots. Manual brakes.
1,500 meters remaining.
Checked. So we'll take the second exit over here. Looks like there was a slight thermal over the
remaining.
runway here. That kind of really shallowed our descent in the final bit. So we just about made the end of the touchdown zone, but better the end than to miss it. Otherwise we would have had to go around anyway. Alright, so clear the cross.
Approaching 10 right.
Intentionally. So that's our housekeeping completed. We're parking straight over there, so we can taxi straight along and then join Alpha over here. Left side is clear, right side is clear. And man, I just totally love the flight beam sceneries. They're doing such an awesome job. So, the flaps are up, the weather radar is off, then we can also turn the lights off since our parking is straight ahead. Over here. APU running. Okay, one to the left, and then there's Golf 9 right over here. Look at the beautiful reflections of the early morning sunlight. It's just incredible. So, is that guidance system doing anything? Yes, it is. And That was perfect. So, brake set, APU running. 1, 2. And here we go, the engine is running down. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Beautiful. So we'll definitely write down the hydraulics and demand pumps C1 and C2 into the tech log here. I want our maintenance to have a look at that before the aircraft dispatches again. And well, then our engines have basically stopped, so here we go, beacon is off, and shutdown checklist. Park and brake, set, shutdown checklist complete. So let's get our ground connections going. So ground ops, chock set, ground power request, jetway request. Then we'll need the cargo loaders, and we want to disarm all of our doors. Then let's have a look. The jetway is connecting, and that looks like it's going towards 2 left. So let's open that one. And well, there is a second jetway here, so we should have someone at 1 left as well. Let's open that one as well. So all those messages are expected. There is nothing in the recall that we don't know about. Nothing down here. Then we do have external power, so let's shut the APU down. Well, and that's it, my friends. Welcome to San Francisco. Hope you enjoyed that one. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video, as I'm really looking forward to it. I just absolutely love this early morning landing. Now it's up to you. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.